okay, so if they're kind of like trying to push us into, like, let's say they're going to microchip us, they're going to get us on this, surveillance state sort of power grid, or get us connected to artificial intelligence and stuff like that. Is this sort of the age where we're the in between right now, where we're basically not like the bootloaders of artificial intelligence, but um, are we kind of the last in the line before we kind of transition into artificial intelligence? Like, is that the next stage of evolution? And whether the Anunnaki kind of started this sort of thing thousands and thousands of years ago, and us as a species, like whoever's controlling this, is this their sort of overall plan? Is this their overall end game? Like, that's where they need us. Like, is that what they need to kind of escape out of this sort of earth or whatever? Like, are we all sort of trapped souls?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of different forces involved, more than the Anunnaki. There's many races of aliens. There's many factors. There's the artificial intelligence thing, but there's artificial intelligence, I should say, gods, or what are considered archonic controllers. But I would say that they don't factor the divine, because the divine is coursing through human blood. And that's in our blood from before the Anunnaki, who actually, they're not our progenitors. I don't believe the Anunnaki actually created us. I think they tampered with our DNA, they tampered with our psychology, but we are divine beings. And so as our evolution calls for, there's a choice. You have to make a choice. And so those that choose to go down the route of, let's say, accepting the status quo, they're not choosing to awake now. They're choosing to stay asleep. They're choosing to go and consent and conform and behave and put on the mask, get the vaccine, just behave.
Are they choosing that, or is the powers that be just keeping him in that collective and that state of fear, so they don't sort of transition as the sort of earth goes through this sort of
absolutely change? But you know what? It's always a choice. It's a choice in consciousness. What you choose determines your destiny, right? It's a free will universe still. No one can manipulate your free will. They want us. The only way of manipulating free will is if you choose to relinquish your free will. And the only way to relinquish your free will is to surrender your humanity and become a robot. So if you surrender yourself to the artificial intelligence mind, let's say mainframe, you become some kind of cyborg bot. If you allow yourself to do that, you have to freely choose to surrender your soul. Doesn't mean you can't ultimately redeem it. I believe you can redeem it eventually. But in the meantime, it's going to be, you have to devolve, I guess, into that form, or it's going to be like a hive mind kind of concept, I guess, for those that choose that route and choose not to awaken, because now is the time. This is the opportunity. We are being given the frequency and the codes in the light to actually transform our entire existence and to awaken to our multidimensional, multi-galactic inheritance. That is such a profound moment in human history. And if you surrender because of fear, you know what? That will never be an excuse. That's like saying the fall happens over and over and over again until you choose not to fall. The fall is always available. It's not like a new thing. The fall happened long ago, and it will happen again to those that choose to fall. But if you say, no, I don't want to fall, I want to ascend, I choose to now put myself in a position as a humble being that is a hologram of the creator, but also submitting myself as the individual ego to the power and force of creation. And you take that, you accept that with humility, you allow creation to work through you. It doesn't matter what happens to your body. Your spirit will prevail. Your soul prevails when you make that choice. Everything changes.
So in terms of if we're given the opportunity to make that choice, I mean, obviously some of us can't because some of us are still asleep, but the ones that are actually awakening to it, I mean, if this is sort of a movement, and it's going on for 6 months, 8 months, like how long is this sort of window open for people to kind of transition through this sort of shift and this sort of I don't know, sort of movement with consciousness and stuff like that? Like, is this what they say as well? Like with the end of the Mayan calendar being 2012, like that the dates were actually off, and we are actually in the 2012 stage now. And what should have happened on December 21st, 2012, is actually happening now. And if that's the case, like, is this just like a small window where we kind of move into this newer age, or is it, is it going to last for like 12 months, 2 years?
No. This is the beginning. The age is going to go for a couple of thousand years. We're just the beginning of the Great Awakening. Imagine if you allow your consciousness to expand here for the next few thousand years, where you're going to end up. I mean, it's going to be incredible, actually, where we go. The problem is that people will relinquish out of doubt and fear. If they relinquish their bodies at the beginning of it because they're afraid of some virus killing them, then you know what? You basically told the universe, you've told God, I don't trust you. I don't trust creation to survive and prevail. I'm scared, and I'm scared for my limited little body here that's not even me. It's just some small fragment or emanation of my soul. And you tell the universe that, then guess what? You have to suffer the consequence. And I'm not saying suffer in a light, and not in a light way. It's like, I feel for those people that are choosing not to wake up, because there's no excuse at this point. We live in a time period when everyone on the planet has access to some level of internet and social media, if they choose. I mean, I would say people that are more awakened may not even be on it. It's like tribes and people that have never even encountered modern civilization. They're already totally awake. Don't worry about them.
Yeah,
but I'm saying if you're limited by human society at this point, and the encumbrance of a society that's taught you mechanistic, individualistic thinking for a few hundred years and has traumatized your ancestors, and you're now living with that, and you turn on your internet and you choose to listen to mainstream media and the sources and purveyors of lies and misinformation since the days of Babylon, those that have literally created media as an expression of ancient spell casting, and you still cannot fathom that these people are continuing to lie to you, and you choose to believe them, then guess what? If you choose to believe the father of lies, even though the father of lies has been called out many a time as a liar, and you choose to believe that, whose responsibility is it then when you suffer the consequence, when you literally go to your personal hell? That's where we are right now. We are literally at the place where it's like you get on your knees and you pray to the creator of the universe and say, creation is so powerful and so beautiful, and thank you for the blessing of this body and this earth, and now it's time to honor that. Otherwise, you will suffer the consequence. And that's why at the end of the day, I say these imperialists are not entirely wrong. If people choose to willfully surrender their free will, choose to be manipulated, betrayed, and destroyed in their humanity and their essence of this human body for fear, if they choose to surrender that, then how is that the fault of the manipulator? The manipulator is simply saying, listen, I'm giving you the apple. You want to eat the apple? You've done this before, guys. You've already eaten this apple. But you want to do it again? Fine. Find out what happens.
Yeah.
So it's like I have so much love and empathy for those that don't want to wake up for fear. And I understand the manipulation. Yes, it's so hard to face it. But you know what? Christ talked about this time when he's in this place, brother against sister and husband against wife and father against son. I mean, it's like this is the moment. Doesn't matter if that person's part of your bloodline family. If they are not awakening, you do not owe them the responsibility of falling with them. This is the time to rise. And the Illuminati have been telling us this, by the way. They've been telling us this story. That's why people want to say the Illuminati is like dark. But you know what? They've been telling you the story. It's been in the Hollywood films for a reason. You are the one. You are the Neo. You are the chosen one. Every one of us.
Yeah.
When we make that decision to get past our personal fear that this body will die, and you make that decision, you say, you know what? I have faith in a higher power. And you know what? The body will die, but the soul, that's what matters. When you make that decision, everything changes.
You know,